And if it could please stand, Lloyd, would you mind doing the honors of the invocation?
Although I have a rule, I don't do it from here.
Good.
That's okay. You have to back
You have to turn that mic on.
Yep.
If you, is it on?
Yes.
Is it on now? Yeah. You can hear me? Okay, sorry. Maybe my ears are plugged. If you would be so inclined to bow your head with me. Heavenly Father, we come here to do the business of the county and the cities, and we ask that you give us guidance, you help us make good decisions, that you give us the ability to agree or disagree, and then walk away still as friends. I consider this group of people my friends, and I'm thankful for that, Lord. And then I pray for all those that are believers, that this weekend would be fulfilling for them, and that they would enjoy the time with their family. And for the non-believers, I pray that they also have a joyous time with their families, and that our community is made stronger by your Son's death and resurrection. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I'd like to call the meeting to order for April 17th, 2025. And if you could join me on the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could have roll call, please.
Director Nelson? Director Reed?
Here.
Director Nagy?
Here.
Director Samra? Director Serrato?
Here.
Director Pacheco?
Here.
Director Pedroso?
Here.
Director McDaniel?
Present.
Director Pereira?
Present.
Director Silvera?
Present.
Chair Amabil?
I'm here.
Thank you. We do have a quorum.
Thank you very much. And our next item is approval as agenda as submitted. Any questions or comments on the agenda?
Silvera, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve agenda as submitted to the board. Any further questions or comments? Not hearing any. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Now we open our public comment. If anyone that would like to speak to this board on any item that's within our jurisdiction, please come forward to the podium at this time. Okay, I do not see or hear anyone coming forward, so I'll go ahead and close the public forum for comment, public comment, and we will go on to item 4, reports and presentations. We have Caltrans. Marty?
Yes.
Yeah, there you are. You're hiding from me more.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today I have overview of Roundabout, and I'll be going on over key projects, updates on key projects, and then action items. I have some other information to share. So I have too many slides, so I'll just go through.
Can you try using the button, please, on the podium to raise the mic?
No, here. Oh, down my way. Oh, right there. Oh, that one.
Saying it's at 95%, it won't go any higher.
Oh, Mike can do that. Okay. Is that better? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, I'll be going over roundabout safety features and different types of roundabouts, project overview in Merced County, and open for any question discussions on roundabouts. As we know, roundabout, they reduce the severity of broadside collisions compared to other forms of intersections. And they have been identified to also save time They are environmental friendly, they reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and they save money. It's not construction money, but money in long-term maintenance. So here we have two diagrams where you show that on the left you have 8 vehicle conflicts compared to 32 in a typical intersection, and there are 8 pedestrian conflicts compared to 24. So this gives an advantage, which reduces fatal and injury crashes by 78% compared to a signalized intersection. And this data shows that when the speed limit is 25 miles per hour, 9 out of 10 pedestrians survive. Their chances of survival is pretty high. At 30, it's 5, and it's 40 miles per hour, it's 1 out of 10 pedestrians are likely to survive. So that's why roundabout, it reduces the speed, and so it reduces collision severity, and it helps state, nation, and Caltrans work toward zero fatality goal, and it reduces conflict points, which I showed in the previous diagram. It improves pedestrian and bicycle safety, and it's a benefit of cost analysis where in long-term maintenance and other benefits. The other operational benefits are reduced delay, so the cars don't have to wait for the red light, and the shorter queues, continuous movement, and it's also accessible to truck and heavy vehicles. And I'll be sharing a video so you can see that. And of course, it reduces travel time by not having a red light wait. So it takes less right-of-way impact compared to a signal because you don't need a left turn lane. It improves its aesthetics, is better, and it reduces fuel consumption, which is it reduces greenhouse gas emissions, and it also gives opportunity to have a gateway monument as long as it doesn't interfere with the site distance. And we give our local partners for that chance to contribute or take over later and propose a monument or be part during constructions. So I'll be going over different features of roundabout. Here I'll be talking about splitter islands, apron, and pedestrian crossing. So roundabout feature one is the refuge island, which gives pedestrian refuge when they're crossing. So they cross one side and they can wait for the other side. And it also has high visibility crosswalk striping, which warns the coming vehicles, drivers, and it's very visible. It has color islands, highly visible islands. The truck apron here, what you see is, which allows the rear wheel of trucks or especially the double trailers to climb on these, and they're designed for that purpose. We'll see a video on that one. These are some videos on roundabouts in California, in Central Valley. I'll skip those. And this is an overview of how many. There are more than 60 constructed in state, and 75 are in the pipeline. In District 10, there are 5 are operational, and 13 roundabouts are in the pipeline. So that's where we are right now. This is a video of a single lane roundabout, Liberty Road intersection, and maybe if I, can you please press the play button? I don't know how to do it here, right there, which will show you how trucks are able to access roundabout. On our Caltrans website, there's a live link to this roundabout. So it allows for U-turn, smooth U-turn. So it's and the first come has the right of passage. So. So in Merced County, we are proposing 5. The first one I'll be discussing is on Volta Road, Highway 152. It's a hybrid roundabout, so 2 lanes on one side and single lane on Volta. So this is the total construction cost is $27 million. And the environmental phase will be completed pretty soon, and design will be completed in summer of 2027, and end of 27 it'll go for construction. And that's the one where we are environmental phase, and we have a preferred alternative is roundabout, and the second alternative is no build. The next one is Wilmot Avenue, a single lane roundabout on 165. And this one, its cost estimate is close to $7 million. January is when we'll complete its environmental phase. It'll go, and design will be completed in early 2028, and we'll go in construction later in 2028. Next is in Planada on 140. And this one is construction capital is $5 million with design. We are 95, close to 100% design, so we'll be completing that pretty soon right now. And by end of the year, it'll go into construction. The next is Gerard Avenue, 159. This one is construction cost of $5.5 million, and design will complete by end of this year, and early next year, it'll go into construction. So what we see here is, though its construction capital is significantly higher than a signalized intersection, it's in long term, it's very cost saving. So I'm going to now jump into any questions on roundabout. Then I'll jump into update on few projects. Okay. So this one is the rehab project through Los Banos. And last time I reported on the schedule change. So we had requested headquarters to delay construction by a year with additional scope for extra sidewalks and bike lanes. Headquarters came back to us. This happened this week, and they didn't allow us to deliver the project a year later. So we will work with the team. Team is working into, and they are. We have to finish design by June of 2026. So and we don't want to lose funding there. Team is looking into how we can deliver that. So they'll be brainstorming. They'll be involving the city and see how we can reduce. So far, they have already reduced number of parcels, which is the critical path. acquisition is the critical path. And of course, we have asked headquarters for extra $6 million. The total cost has gone up because of the sidewalk and bike lanes, and it's in review. So we just sent that change request this week. So that's the change on this rehab project in Los Banos. Now jumping to action items. So this is what was requested at Walter Road. Previously, we had done a coal patch at intersection, but now we have gone and done a major job here. You see in the picture on the left is the previous, and on the right is the current condition after the patch. And of course, last time I showed you future projects coming in, a full major project, rehab project coming through, which will take care of this intersection. Plus the roundabout will take care of the intersection. And there's a Ramos, same thing. Maintenance staff were able to take care of these intersections. Other action item was in Gustine about bike lanes. So looking into the conceptual report that's there, there's already class 1 bike path through the park, and then we have already a class 2 bike lane from Linden to 7th Street. So, but we'll be upgrading it. So team will look when the project comes in. They'll be looking into how that class 2 bike lane can be upgraded. Maybe put a barrier there. And then the project is proposing to install bike lanes from 7th Street to 1st Avenue. So that'll happen. The other question was, is there access to park, sidewalk access? Yes, there is. And then this is pending, which is looking at the lighting at the intersection and looking into improving the crosswalk at 3rd Avenue. So that's pending. The next is the fence on 152 at near Ranchitos Del Sol Drive. This is where we know that someone is damaging the fence. They keep coming and going through it, even after maintenance have done multiple repairs. So maintenance is looking into various options. One option which always works is putting a K-rail. So that's what, but they'll look at other options too. These two items are pending. One is the fence at Edgewater. The report should come out pretty soon. And then the curve on 152 near Turner Island Road. So that's what that report should come out next month. So those pending items, I'll report next month on those. These few items, there were many information items, but I picked few to share with you. Here is that the Clean California Day is April 19 to 26. This is where our crew maintenance will be going and picking up litter. And, we always invite residents, communities, different companies to come and help if they want to take part. And these are the various 4 locations in Merced where they'll be working on it. And then there's a local assistant webinar where usually planning people join and they can sign up at the web link at the bottom. So that helps them know what's happening and information sharing. And these are some local traffic advisory, which shows on Interstate 5. John Araca rest area will be closed till May 31st. And then alternative location is Coling Avenue rest area. And on 59, long-term lane shoulder closure, 16th Street Bridge, and that'll continue till end of the year. And also long-term closure on West 15th Street to West 16th Street for railroad crossing work which will end pretty soon after tomorrow. And on 142, long-term one-way closure till October 3rd for the Los Banos Creek Bridge, which continues right now, and one-way traffic control on I-5 to 165 London Avenue for crack seal operation going on, which will end in 2 days. 165, one-way traffic control from 2nd Avenue to Merced River for crack and seal operation going on, which ended pretty soon, which will end in a day or two. Delay expectations in 5 to 10 minutes, and of course we always ask motorists to watch out for maintenance and the construction work going on. So that's my update for the day. Any questions?
This is one of those rare times, Saman, that I don't have any questions. I just want to thank you for the 152 and Volta, them actually coming out and paving that area. That was, I know that the folks out there, as we're getting closer to, well, July 1st starts tomato season. I know that those folks out there, it's going to make it a little bit smoother of a ride for the folks that have to come across there. So I want to thank you. And then also appreciated, I did get to see your presentation last night on roundabouts. So it was a little bit of old news for me from today, but a great presentation. And I think that, I know everybody's scared about roundabouts, but people that use roundabouts seem to really like them. And maybe your first or second time they're a little scary, but once you get used to them, they're probably not a bad deal. So thank you.
Josh?
Thank you. I just wanted to thank, I don't have any questions, but before Monday, I know Caltrans is going to really help out with the city and the county in a big cleanup over by the railroad tracks behind the cemeteries over there. So I wanted to give you a preemptive thank you and for cleaning all that up, but thank you.
Yeah, mine is one question, and that's the 140 bridge over the Los Banos Creek. You said the constructions continue till October 3rd, and I was just wondering what else they have to do, because it looks done and they've moved all the equipment out.
I can find out.
Okay. And then I wanted to tell you that our roundabout is done, and most of the people that were afraid of it are loving it. So it's been a great new asset for our community, and you will be getting an invitation for the ribbon cutting this next month. So thank you.
Thank you. And we'll use that location to bring in other folks from other cities and towns to, showcase that roundabout.
Fantastic. Make sure they eat and buy gas while they're there.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. Thank you for the presentation. I am a roundabout fan, I can tell you. I think what irritates me is everybody else wants to hit their brakes and go real slow. They panic going through there where you can just continue to go flow. Caltrans just closed one of our bridges here in Merced County on the Fairfield Canal on Yosemite. I just want to know maybe what was the reasoning, and it looks like you're getting through it. And I just want to touch Quinley Road Bridge has been closed for 12 years. And every time people call Caltrans, they point the finger back to the county, and the county needs Caltrans to help us out with it. We want to get it opened. And so people on one side of the bridge don't want it to open, but the other side of the bridge want it to open so they can get into town. But no, I was just asking about the Yosemite with the Fairfield Canal. I don't know. That was just closed, and it should be within a couple days.
Yeah.
Closed yesterday, and it was kind of random, and we're trying to figure out, which is a busy bridge. Thanks.
Maybe we'll send an email on that. So.
And then, like Scotty said last night, Mr. Kapoor was at our city council meeting, and my concern about roundabouts were the big trucks, especially the tomato trucks. He made a believer out of me, and I do not have any concerns. That apron really makes a difference, and I wasn't aware of that. So full speed ahead, I guess. Any other comments? Right?
Yeah. There's
Full speed around. Yeah, that's how it is.
around, yeah. So, did you see the picture of the Yosemite Avenue Bridge?
Yes.
The big chunk of concrete missing? That's why it got closed.
Oh, okay.
So, Anyways, I had brought up probably 2 years ago, before your time here, but the signalization at the intersection of V Street and would be westbound Highway 140. There's a time where there could be a right turn arrow, green arrow, that would allow traffic to move, because what happens is when there's a red light, it backs up underneath the freeway and then backs up into the intersection on the north side of Highway 99. So it'd be southbound V Street could have a right turn green arrow. I know that's not my jurisdiction, but I drive it quite a bit to my jurisdiction. So just kind of hoping that if you have any questions, let me know, and I can show you on a map what I mean.
Okay.
If that's, and it may be when you get back to the office that somebody's has it on their desk, and because it was before your time.
Okay, I'll follow up. I think, yeah. I'll ask traffic ops people, definitely, they must have.
Yeah, okay. And then there's one spot on North Highway 59, just north of the Edendale Creek. So it'd be about a mile north of Oakdale Road. And it's a soft spot, and the road gives way, and your local crew keeps going there and patching it. But I mean, as soon as they patch it, it's already breaking away, and it really needs the substrate to be addressed to fix it. And there's, of course, there's a lot of trucks that travel on that, and so I'm getting complaints from the gravel companies that, that their trucks are hitting it from time to time, and it's causing issues. And I've also emailed that in, and what happens is they come out and they address it, but they just put some patch down, and it doesn't, it's a soft shoulder there, and it just keeps breaking away, and it's about 2 foot into the traffic lane, so it's pretty dangerous.
Anand, the V Street and 140, we did a site visit with, I believe, Charlie was there, Charlie Doe. Who was, I'm trying to think of who else was there. There's a whole team of people. So I know they'd made some initial recommendations. I believe it was Charlie. They did some signage. So I know they were looking at different configurations to allow or to help prevent the stacking both northbound and southbound at that intersection. So just to not reinvent the wheel, I know there's someone who's doing it, and I can probably find that email, but I'm pretty sure it was Charlie.
Sorry, I thought you were going to get away with that one, but I hit this one this morning and it just refreshed my memory. So on the 152, you're getting off of eastbound 152 onto the 59 flyover. As soon as you heading northbound on 59, is when you get past the flyover right there. I know I brought this one up in the past. They've patched it, but right when you get from the concrete to where it turns into the asphalt again, there's almost the whole lane of the northbound lane. There's probably, when I go over it at like 50, it looks like probably about a foot and a half section where that patch that they put in there is gone now. So it's like you come off of the cement on the flyover, and you hit that pothole right there. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you very much for your presentation. We appreciate it. Mhm. Okay, our next item is informational items only. Is there any item of 5A, B, C that any of the board members would like to pull off for discussion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, it's informational only, so we'll just move on. But thank you for your motion.
Maybe for 6.
Okay, so now we'll go to, we'll go on to our consent and calendar. And see, this is any item here. Our first item is Mercer County Association of Governments approval of the draft minutes from March 20th. And we can approve these all.
Yep, all of those.
And then we have the joint powers, and we have the regional. We got a motion and a second.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and second.
I'm just really excited to get to Stacy's report.
Yeah.
I know you are.
Okay, we have a motion and second for consent agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, ayes have it. Now we move on to our waste management and action items. There's none. Discussion. There's one item on discussion, presentation of the design for the RWA Administration Building. James, it's all yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is going to be a little bit of a history lesson, a little bit of a story. Several of you new to the board. Mr. Chair, it's been 18 years.
18.
When you left, the Waste Authority was still operated by the county. Obviously, there's been a lot of changes since then. Want to run through a little bit of the background here. We've got an agenda. We'll talk about background, touch on the valley fill, landfill expansion a little bit, what that is and why we're looking at it. We'll talk about the infrastructure phasing. As you know, we've got about a $9 million project nearing completion out there. We'll have a few photos that show the progress of that. We'll talk a little bit about the existing admin building out at the site and the new proposed admin building. We'll look at some costs, comparison of modular construction versus permanent construction, and we'll talk about the cost a little bit. As you know, I'm James Moore, the director of the RWA. I'll let my partner here introduce himself.
Caleb Moore, no relation that I know of. Tetra Tech, principal engineer.
A little bit of background. Our current administration building is a used modular building. In its previous life, it was a hospital clinic down in Fontana for Kaiser Permanente. Regional Waste acquired it in 2012. At the time, there was a project that Public Works had been working on to construct an administration building out at the Highway 59 landfill. That building was budgeted for about $400,000. They went out to bid. The bid came in at $1 million, and they said, we're not going to do this. So out of the blue, they got a call. We have this modular building available. It was purchased at the time. Modular buildings were going for about $150 a square foot. Since it was a used building, they got it for $25 a square foot. It was a great deal at the time. Again, that was 13 years ago. That building itself is probably close to 25 or 30 years old now, and we are seeing some wear and tear. It is 11 separate 60 by 12 trailers connected. It has 11 separate HVAC units. We have 2 of them right now that the compressors have failed. We're trying to get them replaced, and with anything of that age, we're getting to the point where we can't replace parts. We have to replace entire units. It's becoming pretty expensive. We're going to talk a little bit about here Valley Fill, and we'll see, you know, the Valley Fill project started in 2013. At the time, the management staff at RWA started looking, those of you that are familiar with our site, you know, the original phase 1 through 4 to the east, southeast end of the site, and then we have phase 5 to the southwest side. We have a large valley in between that can be filled with waste and recover that airspace. Those plans went through CEQA. All of that was approved in the mid 2014-15 timeframe. In 2017, 2018, funds were allocated to begin design to relocate all of the original infrastructure at the site. And we'll show a picture of that in just a moment. That includes our vehicle maintenance shop, our household hazardous waste collection area, our single stream recycling, and our fuel and dispensing system. In fiscal year 2019-20, some additional funds were allocated for the permitting, design, and construction management and construction of a new administrative facility. In October of 2022, shortly before I came on board here, there was a presentation to this board that advocated splitting the project into 2 phases. The initial phase, all those items I just mentioned, with the administrative office being moved into a second phase. That was due primarily to cost escalation. Again, we're talking about a project that was originally envisioned in 2012. In May of 2023, The plans were completed for phase one. We went out to bid in early 2023, and we awarded construction that started in 2024. That project is nearly complete. The buildings are all in place. Our biggest delay right now is the new fuel tanks are delayed. We hope those will be delivered early in July, and we'll be able to complete the project. And with this, I'll let Caleb take over and talk a little bit about the valley fill.
Yeah, so about 10 years ago, the valley fill was brought up and proposed as a way to capture a lot of airspace that could be caught between the unlined and the lined portion of phases 1 through 4, and then again on phase 5. The phase 6 has a significant amount of soil in it, and that soil needed to be dug out, and that's a pretty huge capital cost. And with the landfill having moved forward, it was envisioned that all of the infrastructure caught in between phases 1 through 4 and 5, right there in the kind of that throat where the old access road was, the entrance facilities. There was a lot of recycling, open recycling bins, all that stuff we're going to show you here in a second. But the point of this map is you can basically develop a significant amount of airspace and add that to the capital at the site for a much lower cost at the time, especially given the bond situation and the financial situation of the system. So you can see that cross section down on the bottom where you add basically adding airspace, and with the north having significant amount of soil for the daily and operational needs, you could bring that down south and into that area and run and gain airspace rather quickly and rather efficiently. Although unfortunately it was delayed, there was a probe 45 which has been since cleaned up. We're going to now proceed to help at the direction of the authority to get that permitted through Cal Recycle and the Regional Water Board. So in that middle part, on the far left, you see I have a yellow and a red, and I had to ask my staff, I'm colorblind, so hopefully you'll forgive me here. The yellow down there is in that throat section. All of the infrastructure there, which was for a much smaller landfill, had to get moved up to the red area. And then you see kind of a blow up of that there in the middle one. The yellow is the old area, and then the red is where it is now. And that's kind of an old picture there because there has been significant activity of construction recently. This is what that looks like now. So again, it was all envisioned to be one phase, but because it was bifurcated into two to kind of delay capital. So up here on the far left, top left, is the new vehicle maintenance building. Right there in the top center is the new recycling building enclosed so that all those plastics and paper and everything don't blow around and litter the communities. And then the top right is the new household hazardous waste collection. That's for your cities to bring in, your constituents to bring in household hazardous waste to be dealt with. And then the bottom right is the old or the current administration building. And this phasing was brought up so that the current administration building could be kept in place. And then that bottom left is where the new one is. But that bottom right now is to be used, that parking lot is to be used for access and to be for white goods and different things as it was envisioned for that plan. And on the far right, you have two quick view sheds or elevations, if you will, view simulations of the new building. The existing building, approximately 8,000 square feet, proposed building about 12,000 square feet. At the time, it was about 24 staff back in 2013, up to 36 staff. Important to note is that at the time you were doing about 2,600 tons a year, and now up to 650,000 tons per year of waste.
And I'll add that those numbers are for the total system, not just Highway 59, but all of our support and administrative staff is based at Highway 59. So we just wanted to emphasize.
Mr. Chair. Question. So does that staff number represents only the staff at the Highway 59? That's not total. Okay, thank you.
So most landfill, you have field staff who sometimes have to get out into the mud, and even nastier stuff. And currently, your administration building or any of the support buildings don't have showers and lockers. Well, they do have lockers, but they don't have showers and private rooms for them to get cleaned up to go back out into society. They'll have to kind of get in their muddy trucks and get home. So that's typically what's at a landfill is like the modicum of showers and things like that. There are some other things that have to be updated with that, and we won't go into all of that. We won't bore you to death on that, but that's kind of the highlights of the existing versus the proposed building. There was a basis of design, and if you want to dig into that, we can get that to you. There's a pretty significant basis of design for what the existing, current, future needs are. There are diversion requirements out there now. You do have different staff that are out there to help with the diversion requirements from the state and the federal regs to do that. So that, unfortunately or fortunately, that's more staff depending on how you look at that. But those things were looked at. A lot of the nitty gritty, design criteria for current CBC, California Building Code regulations, are all going to be incorporated into that. Oops. I think I might have done something. Oh, there we go. Existing building, 6 large office, 1 regular, and kind of there's the tail of the tape right there of what's in there. This is the actual building floor plan of the existing building, 3,000 square feet. Here is the proposed new building. It went from about 13 to 18 offices, and then a few more rooms as dictated by the need in the basis of design report. And then here is the new building layout. Any questions here? Maybe I should stop and quit talking so fast. I don't know, maybe you want me to talk faster.
Any questions? Go on.
Yeah, so, sorry, Mr. Mayor,
Okay.
I mean, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, office spaces, I noticed there's a lot more offices, but that doesn't take into account the amount of people, right? So you go from 13 offices to now 18 offices, but you have 36 employees, so is it 2 people per office?
No, a large number of those are our field staff.
So how many people actually are in, I can see on here you have, where did I see it at? You have, let me get to my right one.
Right now, we have approximately 13 administrative technical staff in the building with 2 vacancies. So, right now, our conference room is used part-time. When our HR person comes out to the site, there is not an office for her. We also have a vacant procurement spot right now.
And then I saw in here, so why do we need a library and landfill office?
For our documents that we have to keep.
I see lots of storage in here. Files, storage. Yeah, so,
Yeah, I mean, as far as file storage goes, right now we are renting a storage unit to keep our archived files. We have to keep a number of our files for up to 5 years after the date. That's down at the storage unit off G Street. The expansion of the file room here would allow us to not have that off-site. And there are just, several of the features. Our current locker room, those of you who've been on the board for a while have been out there. We've held board meetings out there. It's a combination training room, locker room. Due to the size, we have very small lockers. The guys really can't store all of their gear in those lockers. So this proposed new locker room allows us to put in larger lockers. Very similar, Mr. Chair, Director Silvera, the new police station in Los Banos. If you've toured that, the locker room there, we're looking at that same size locker, not as large, but to where the crew can actually put all of their gear in the locker. As Caleb said, showers for hygiene and cleanliness.
would those be men's and women's showers?
There's 2 separate showers that have doors, so they're unisex. They can be used by either.
Okay, that's all I have for right now, thank you.
So there was some staff questions in regards to this, administrative questions in regard to conventional versus modular, basically going back to maybe doing a new modular building of some sort, trailers or something like that. We have looked at just at the surface some of the costs associated with that to compare that to standard, what we call stick frame, if you will, construction. So the pros are much more durable, obviously. I mean, these are some pretty common sense pros and cons. But the reality is that on a conventional construction, that one of the biggest pros there, it's a 50 to 80 year building. Has much better sound attenuation in an industrial facility where you have trucks going by each day. You have much better R values, which is basically the resistance to air conditioning. You'll have a much better efficiency on that. Because it is a 50 to 80 year building. A landfill, I basically say a landfill is basically a 50, 60, 80, 100 year construction project. It's just always evolving. The regulations are always evolving, so the staff needs might change. You might have to take on a wall. You can't do that in modular buildings. It is a much cheaper way to go. Not significantly cheaper, but it is cheaper. But with this building, you can change it and you can do it internal. You're going to have truss frames going the full span of the width or the short distance of that. So all the walls can be reconfigured in there for different needs. You're, again, 50 to 80 years on the building. If you go for a really cheap modular building, if you go for expensive modular building, you're pretty much paying the same price as stick frame. But if you go really cheap, which is where you're going to gain from that, you're probably a 15 to 20 year building. And we did an initial cost. It's about $3 million. We'll get to the cost of this. It's about $3 million landed, but that doesn't include all the other features that have to go into the building. So to do that, shorter construction duration. There is some other things. Modular is good if you are just a temporary need, or it's a remote construction. Those are the huge pros for modular, which can be done here. But I don't know. Is there any questions on the difference between modular versus stick frame? I would imagine a lot of you have experience with modular.
Yeah. So when you said you did a high kind of 30,000 foot view, those are my words, of modular versus stick frame. There's different types of modular. You mentioned maybe like some cheaper ones, some more expensive ones. Like how far did you dive into that? Because I know that modular construction has gotten a lot better than it used to be.
Sure. Right.
So and then cost wise, ultimately for me, what would drive my decision is it's kind of the risk versus reward analysis. Cost. What are we talking at? We're not made of money here. We're gonna be. In my opinion, as we pay off our bonds, we're not going to be importing as much trash from other jurisdictions unless they want to pay big premiums to do that. I don't want. Let me just stop there because I want you to get to I saw the report or the slide presentation in my staff report. I want to get to the numbers and then we'll chat some more on that.
Sure. So there are the numbers, real quick. Currently, what you've spent to date is $680,000 in investigation. Some of this was part of phase one. It was initially all designed as phase one, and then it was broken out. So it was kind of changed midstream. So the estimate right now, just on the building, is $680,000 in design fees, geotechnical, investigation fees, so on and so forth. Site work, we're assuming that's basically building the foundation. It's some basic utilities and things like that. $500,000 administration building. This was $6.5 million for just that. And then the cost estimating firm assumed a potential escalation, meaning contingency of $1 million. At the time they do these things, you're sometimes a year and a half behind. So there could be escalation in costs, so $1 million there. And then construction administration, that's basically overseeing it, making sure it gets built correctly, final reports, inspection, all that, so $800,000. So of that we'll call it $9.5 million, you've spent about $700,000. So you're at about 8.7 to finish this and get it on the ground. So Director Savera, you want to? I'm saying that. I literally just went to go get my eyes checked. I'm 50 years old, and I'm bad at these names. Sorry.
I'm just doing some quick math here, sir. Sorry, give me 1 second.
Well, he does his math. What's the life of that landfill?
That's one of the things that we're really excited about, the potential to move forward with the valley fill. That will take us out to about 48 years life right now. That's barring any other expansion out at the site.
Okay, thank you.
The reality is, let's say absolute worst case, we didn't expand the landfill any. The transfer station we've just built for recyclables, a lot of the household hazardous collection area, there's a lot of facilities out there that can be used beyond the closing of the landfill. In addition to, under current state law, we have to maintain that facility for at least 30 years after it closes. So we're looking at a presence on the site of at least 80 or more years.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be, though, you talk about if you got a 50-year lifespan roughly of landfill operations down to 30 additional years of just post-closure operations, I would imagine there'd be a whole lot less staff out there.
There'd be a reduction, I'll be honest. Seeing what's coming down on the regulation side, right now, I would estimate we'd be looking at about a third to half the crew we have now.
Okay. And so, I guess a couple questions. So I noticed in there you got a lot of offices. We just got done building a new building for the retirement system, where your leads, I'm gonna call it your managers, for lack of better words, your department heads, deputy department heads, all have singular offices, but the rest of your staff are in an open space that are in cubicles, where you could. So I guess, how did we come up with this design? Did we just say that this is the design we want and we went and looked at that, or did we look at what is most feasible as far as when you talk about changing in spaces? I know COVID happened, and here in our own county administration building, rules changed and everybody needed so many feet, and we went in and were able to take out cubicles, put and meet the size requirements, and put new cubicles. I think this whole third floor, if not other floors, have all done cubicles. Why wasn't that taken into consideration?
I wasn't here when the original design was started for the building. What I have inferred or seen from the drawings was they really went based on what was in the existing building. The plan when I first got here had two very large offices. If we go back to that current drawing of the trailer, you can see these offices here on
the left-hand side of the
on the
screen.
left-hand side are extremely large, almost 380 square feet. And part of that's the way the trailers were configured. What we did when I started working on this was we looked at the size of some of the offices that were in the new proposed, and honestly, we added an office on the north end between the reception area, and then we added, I believe, 2 offices down on the south end of the building there by condensing the size of some of the other offices. One of the things with our staff out at the site there is I've got 4 managers, I've got 2 supervisors, I've got 2 technicians, I've got an accounting manager, an accounting tech, and a staff accountant. I've worked in a lot of different office environments for almost 45 years now. There are work scopes that fit well in a cubicle open area. As I said, I took a tour of the new police station in Los Banos. The dispatch area, that's a perfect use. You've got 8 or 10 people doing very similar things, very open area. They can intermix. When you look at my environmental resource manager versus my staff accountant versus a receptionist, honestly, it just doesn't work very well. We do have the ability, depending on the feedback we get today. And one thing I want to emphasize, we're not asking for an approval today. We are seriously looking at our process for bringing projects before your board. I want to be more transparent. In the past, you approved a CIP project, and then the next time you saw it was when we were asking you to award the project after the bid. We're going to come back to you. Right now, these plans are currently with the county building department. We expect comments back within the next week. We're going to look at the plans, see what we have to revise. We will come back to this board for an approval of the plans prior to going out to bid, and then we will come back, if that is successful, with an item to award the project at the end.
And I can appreciate that. I appreciate that you're bringing it to us, because it's better to come to us now versus bringing us something and then we don't like it. I'm going to have to disagree with you a little bit. It's very different to me when you're comparing a police department to a landfill. Just curiosity, how much interaction do you have with, how many members of the public come into that building on a regular basis?
Quite a few, actually.
Is it, and what would be a typical reason to come in there? I mean, I know we have, when I go to Billy Wright, I interact with a scale house person, and I don't really go into the office for anything there. What would be some of the reasons people come in? Like they got complaints, or
they have a complaint, there's a problem with their billing. Obviously, since all of our administrative and technical staff is there, we get a lot of deliveries. So I would say on an average day, there's probably anywhere from 20 to 40 members of the public or commercial people coming into the building.
So if we're going back to the numbers, so we've allocated $6.5 million to this project, correct?
6.75 for construction right now.
6.75. We've already spent, what is it?
The 6.5 is, or 6.75 is for construction. None of that has been touched yet.
Okay, so, but we've already spent, I think it was 680,000 on design work.
And we've got about 500,000 left unspent in that allocation.
Of the 680, there's 500 left?
No.
There, that's,
500 in addition to the 680.
and is that included in the 6.75?
It is not. It's a separate CIP project.
And then I get there's an escalation cost if this was put together back then, but my question is now you go build this nice, beautiful office building. Does this $9.48 million, does that include the cost to furnish that office?
It's not. That would come out of our O&M budget.
And then, and what, with 18 offices and locker rooms and all that, I would imagine you guys already have a cost estimate on what that's gonna cost?
Partial, the lockers are part of the project.
That's part of the construction price?
Some of the casework, the cabinetry is all part of that.
So roughly ballpark, what are you looking at to outfit it?
Rough guess, 125 to 150,000.
That number seems a little low to me, but I'll take your word for it. Listen, all I can say is, okay, I do, because I got a bunch of little notes on. One is this, and this is just being really picky, and this is just me, but if you go on to page 170, I'm going to write it out. I wrote it down because I saw it, and I wish I would have caught it earlier. Page 178, there was a misspelling there. It should be 6.75 million, and it says 6.75 mission. But that just stuck out to me. And I just wanted to point that out. It's like where I'm at with it is it's a lot of money, and we're going to be 9.4 potentially. Let's just call it $9.5 million into this project. We've already spent roughly 680,000. That puts you at 8.8 million. Plus, we still got to outfit it. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And you know, I think about things when I was just having a conversation. I met with some folks from Agrimin over a project that they're doing out in my district, and we were talking about, I said, think about this as an idea, that when we get to the point that we don't have to import trash because we have bond debt, that I feel like for far too long here in the valley, we take everybody's trash, and that's like literally in this case, and we don't get rewarded for it other than we get to take up our airspace. And when we get to a point now where we're not importing trash because out of necessity, we put a rate on what our import trash is, that it actually generates revenue. And think about this as a concept. We tell our taxpayers and our citizens, hey, we're going to actually be able to reduce your rate. We'll charge you a little bit less because we're able, we put if it's costing us, I'll make up the number because I don't know what it is off my head, but if we're charging $50 a ton tipping fee to our local residents, and we put a fee out there of $120 a ton or $150 a ton, and some other jurisdiction has no other option and they're paying us $150, and we say, well, listen, we generated enough revenue that we can actually give our taxpayers, our ratepayers, a discount on there. That's what I want to see us get to. And I just imagine that if you're going to be at, I don't know, like let's say your number, it's 9.48, we add another 125,000 on there, you're looking at 9.6-ish. Anytime you get into any of these deals, it always goes up, change orders, all those great things. You know, we're going to be $10 million into this project. And you know, 50 years versus, I think you said, James, 25 to 30 years is what we got out of that modular building. I think modular buildings are better made now than probably the one that we got, right? I definitely would love to explore. Again, if we're going to build it, I want to build it right. I want you to understand that. I don't want to cut any corners, but I want us to look at this and come back with some areas where maybe we can trim some off of this, and give me a real hard comparison on a good quality modular building, so that it gives, at least for me, and I can only speak for myself, but I want to be able to compare something. I want to see side by sides and what am I getting, and not just kind of like a high look at overview of what a modular is. I want us to seriously consider a modular as much as we're considering a stick building, so that I can make an informed decision on behalf of my ratepayers. Thank you.
We can put those numbers together when we bring it back for approval to go out to bid.
Any other questions? Josh?
This isn't really a question, but I tend to agree because I think this is a big ask. I mean, it's a big building with a lot of offices that I think you can do the work with cubicles and stuff. And comparing this to a police station, I don't think is an accurate, comparison. I think that, when you look at, you have a training room, two conference rooms. I understand the environmental compliance stuff, but then you also have a file room. I think that all of the offices are a little, I just think it's a little much. And I think that I agree with what my colleague over here says, is that, if we're going to look at ways to cut rates, I think that's something that we should do by not, going for everything. I don't want to cut corners either, but I do think this is just kind of like a wish instead of a reality. And so I'd like to see those comparisons as well. Thank you.
Sorry, I see right here on right there, center, that big square to the left of the electrical storage, and then what is PLTR?
The original designation was for a plotter. We have a plotter right now in our project manager's office.
Okay, fair enough. I just didn't know what the abbreviation was. Thank you.
And actually, the plotter is going to go in the copy room with the copier. Right now, we have a large amount of equipment, supplies stored in the supervisor's offices. Anybody that's walked through that building, it's got weird corners and closets and things shoved in.
No, and listen, I get that, and I think that they got to smoke a deal on that thing, so you kind of live with a little bit of, the layout's not all that great, but when you go from 150 to 25 a square foot for it, I mean, this deal here, you're looking at $770 a square foot. That's not cheap. I think that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Lloyd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, so first question, the 680,000 that's been utilized so far is for both projects or this project? Because it wasn't real clear.
Yeah, and it's hard to break out because it did start as one project. So that also included all of the utility work at the site. The power comes in from the west, the water comes in from the east, the sewer goes to the south. All of those lines had to be coordinated for all of the buildings that were put in. So
which page was the cost breakdown or the budget breakdown?
In the PowerPoint.
Go back to the slide, I guess. That'd make it easier.
Yeah, I think should be somewhere about 180. Yeah, 190.
Yeah, I got it. I mean, it's right here. Thank you. So the 680,000, you're talking about bringing in power lines and water lines, but that's design and engineering.
Design and engineering, yeah.
So what? I mean, is it water lines or is it not? What?
It was part of the design, and again, this project's been in the works for over 5 years. Unfortunately, there's been multiple iterations of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a lot of this was before I got here. I'm just trying to get caught up in.
So then I'll just give you my gut feeling, my take, is that your building's too big and your cost is too high, but other than that, it looks good. I mean, honestly, that's it. This is a lot of money, and I think building a Taj Mahal expense, I don't know if this is Taj Mahal office, but yeah, this is just, the justification for all the extra square footage, it doesn't fit for the number of people that are out there. Giving everybody an office, giving a tech an office is probably not what we do in today's world, right? Most people in that position are in a cubicle, I would think. And so anyways, I don't know how we go from here if you're, but I don't know, I'm almost feeling like maybe, well, let's hear from anybody else on the board. I mean, people may think this is great and want to go that direction, and the three of us are in the minority. That could be the case.
I think it's direction. We're giving direction.
Yeah,
Katie?
I would like to know, what are other landfills using for their office space designs? Have we investigated? Is this,
Yeah, the majority of publicly owned and operated landfills have administration buildings on their sites. Typically those that are of a joint powers nature, like ourselves, Salinas, Monterey, other larger agencies, all of their administration staff is on site, so they do have permanent buildings. I'll be honest, I've been a consultant for a long time prior to coming here. A lot of privately operated landfills don't have as nice a facility. Their bottom line is they're looking out for their shareholders, their profit, and they minimize the costs they put into that. We try to operate similar to that, but at the same time, I can feel for my guys not having a shower to come in if they get sprayed with leachate or some other material out at the site. So, and we're going to listen to all the comments today. That was the purpose of coming here. We'll see what kind of comments we get back from county building, if there's some revisions we have to make to satisfy their requirements. And we can look at, honestly, we can take out a couple of walls and put cubicles in. That reduces the number of offices, doesn't really reduce the square footage. We can look and see if we can, tighten that up. So we can have some other options when we come back.
I do think it's important for showers and all the safety necessities, because that is something you cannot give up. But it is a lot of office space for positions that may not need all that privacy or confidentiality.
I did some more math in my head over here. So if you take your square footage by the 2013 employees, that's 330 square foot per staff member. That's on the 24. You take the current square footage, and that's 342 square feet per staff member. That additional 12 square feet per person is at the cost of $9,240 more per employee, right? So when you look at it so just wanted to see where my mind's going is, buildings should probably be a little bit smaller. I think that it's hard for me to tell, what is the square footage. I can see in there, there looks like there's probably 2 for sure, maybe 3 different size offices. I don't know exactly what the square footage is on those, but you take just on those, you got the conference room and you got those 3 office spaces there. Do we need that big of an office? I don't know. James, if the one office over in the corners, the head honcho's office, they always got a little bit bigger office, but you take that fits 3 people in it right now. Just by my estimation, just by just what my mind's saying, I can fit probably minimally 6 to 10 cubicles in that section of 3 right there. And if you're talking about, so you could probably get one of those and you could fit 6 in 2, right? You do that again on the other side, you get rid of one of those, you slice off a piece of that puzzle there, you put some cubicles in there, and that actually gives you more desks, right? So if you talk about future expansion and that same amount of space, so somebody else gets a little bit smaller office, but in that same amount of space, you not only service today's needs, but if you add another 4 employees, because currently, if we're building this to last for 50 to 80 years, we move in on day 1, we have no more space. Unless we're going to start thinking about converting conference rooms and other spaces into offices down the road, we're not really giving ourselves no more space. And I think that could be accomplished with less square footage and just making them offices a little bit smaller. Thank you.
Mike over here.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we can keep beating them up about this. You've given them plenty of information to think about, so you can go work on it some more and come back to us with something. I want to hear Stacy's report too, so.
Thank you.
Comment quickly.
Okay.
I appreciated Supervisor Silvera's comments somewhere in there, because I wanted to just say,
we definitely need a new office. And I don't know that there's an argument there, but I just want to make that very clear that we need to replace the existing admin building. So it sounds like what we're hearing is taking back the feedback that we've had, look at what some alternatives are to the existing plan, both within the footprint, and I think if we start talking about, as I think recommended, looking at a smaller footprint, calculating what those costs would be to redesign and do some of that work. So just kind of coming back with a whole host of considerations, both in tweaking this design and looking at alternatives, but just want to make it, really clear that I want to make sure we're on the same page, and hoping we don't hear any pushback that this is really a what kind of office, not necessarily do we need an office, because the building is toast. That's a technical word.
Right, and I just had a question on how much the plans had already cost. Do we have that slide up there? 700,000.
680.
680. So 700,000. So to redesign, is it going to be that? And how much are you guys wanting to save? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So do we want to spend another $680,000 to save $1 million?
That's several revisions. I don't know.
So I'm just, for another revision. I'm just trying to, I don't want to step over dimes to save pennies. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, how will that offset the savings that we're looking for at this point? Because like you said, James, we've been working on this since before James had it. And the more we continue to work on it, and maybe some of these office spaces could be open. That would probably be a cost savings in its way.
Yeah, you could eliminate the walls, and that would be a cost savings. It wouldn't. The biggest bang for your buck is to reduce square footage. And to go back and redesign it, you'd basically just shorten one side or the other. If you wanted to do it economically, you wouldn't really want it. You would not want to. I mean, the truss. It's a truss frame, so the short
Right.
is that way. So you basically just reduce it, kind of march back this way. You kind of like, I don't know, eating a corn dog. You just kind of start from the long end. You just kind of start reducing it, and that's how you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck on reducing the square footage. Because the reducing walls. Yeah, you're going to reduce some costs, but it's not a big cost.
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out. Yeah, how much retooling do we have to do? And I'm trying to figure out what's the fair value and what's the fair amount.
You're not going to spend $680 to redesign it. I couldn't tell you right off the top because it's a multidiscipline design. I'll have to go back to the structural, the architect, and all those different things. And we've already got a lot of that stuff designed and in the can. It's not going to be $3, but I can get back to you. It's not going to be a massive amount. But I think what you'd probably want to consider is just the long term and how much you really want to spend on it and get it right the first time.
Right. So, that's where I was.
I think that's, I'm new to the board, so can we afford it? I mean, all of you voted a few months ago or a year ago. I mean, we have to look at that too. So it's, just like if you're going to build a house, how much can you afford to build a house? You're going to build $1 million house or $500,000 house? If we can afford it, 80 years, better make it right. But I understand the concern of spending too much money too and saving money. Any other comments or questions?
On that
Yes,
point,
ma'am.
the 6.75 was already allocated to the Pierce.
Correct, sir.
So it's $3 million over than what was allocated? Okay.
If we see the $1 million escalation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that seems a little high, right?
I actually saw a story today, based on the first quarter of this year, construction material costs are up 10%. So.
Okay.
Overall, it's about a 16% escalation that was added into it, but you do have to realize that 680 is already spent, so the 6175 is the 94 minus the 680, so you're at, call it 987. So that's kind of where you're at. So 8.7 between the 6.5, so you're 2.2 difference in that.
Okay, do you have enough information to go forward? Okay, thank you both, and thank you to the board. Okay, that was information only, as said. Now we'll go to action items to the Joint Powers Authority. There is none. And let's see. And then discussion items, there's none. We'll move on to MCAG governments, action items. And there's 3 items in front of us here on A, B, and C. The award of the, well, let's see, Mary Michael, you start us off. It's enough of me talking.
The action item before you today is to award the 2025 Ana Maria Fuentes Scholarship to El Capitan High School senior Rylan Post. This is the 14th award since the scholarship was established in 2010. The selection committee met on March 25th. Thank you to Director Reed for her contributions to that process. There were 29 applications that met the qualifications, and Mr. Post quickly rose to the top of the ranking and was decided upon by consensus. And I also want to send a thank you to our staff who participated in that as well. Mr. Post is a very accomplished young man. He's ranked 3rd in his class for a 4.5 GPA. He's an accomplished musician. He will graduate early at the age of 16 here in the next couple of months with both a high school diploma and an AA. And if that wasn't enough, this guy's had perfect attendance from kindergarten through 12th grade. So for those of you that have ever tried to keep a kid in school perfectly for 1 year, you know this is like an unheard of accomplishment. So I would advocate for him just on that alone.
Wow. That's an accomplishment, that's for sure.
His goal is to pursue an undergraduate degree in pre-medicine, becoming a physician, potentially double majoring or minoring in music as well. The TRB had no questions or concerns when this item was brought before them. And I think that is all I have today. Upon the board's approval, we'll present this scholarship to him on May 8th. And thank you to Chair Amabile and Director Reed for agreeing to represent the board at that ceremony that evening. Director Reed, did you have anything you wanted to add as the representative of the board on the selection committee?
It was very tough. There were lots of applications, the ones that stood out right away. We had a lot of discussion on who should get it because everybody who applied was qualified. And so then you start your determining factors. I think a lot of input from the family member that was on the selection committee made a huge impact. And I'm glad that we chose who we chose, and I'm very excited to present it to him.
Much. And just as a final reminder, the scholarship is funded 100% through donations. Staff is excited to reinvigorate our quest for more donations to the fund, and I'll let Stacy incorporate that into her report in a couple of items. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay, we'll need a motion for that one item. Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to award the 2025 Ana Maria Fuentes Scholarship. As stated, any further questions or comments? I'd like to thank Board Member Reed also for representing the board. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
Mr. Chair, a big thank you to Director Silvera for doing the auction to raise more funds for that scholarship fund. And we actually have donations still coming in through some of our vendors. So thank you, Scott, for that.
Okay, thank you. It's all yours.
Good afternoon, directors. I'm going to be like Director Silvera and kind of go real fast, real quick, so we get this over with. I know our legal counsel has to be out by 5:30.
She said 6:30, so.
She just told me 4:30.
5:01. Me.
So we got a 5:01, 5:01. We had 5:30. All right. For your approval today is a proposed budget for the 25-26 overall work program. This is Elizabeth's department. This is the transportation department's overall work program. The overall work program for 25-26 is $5 million, an overall decrease of 12%. Some of the decrease comes from professional services, auditing services, and we're not proposing any new positions. When we talk about professional services, these are studies or reports that are completed in the fiscal year 24-25. And the biggest auditing service that we had this year was the TDA audits, which we brought to the board. It was like a $200,000 contract. which it goes back from 18-19 all the way to 23-24 for audits. So that should be completed by June of this year. Some priorities for 25-26. The 2026 RTP kicks off this year, along with some of these other items that I'm not going to go into. We were presented this last month. We're also going to do a bus stop assessment for TJPA and transportation safety program as well. Any questions on the projects for next year?
Questions, comments? Motion?
And then, so the revenues, we talk about a decrease of 12%, which is $600,000. The housing money, funding we got, that's a decrease. PL carryover. Usually we have some PL money that's carried over year. As I mentioned, we did a lot of studies in the 24-25 fiscal year, which has a reduction of, we go from $400,000 from 24-25 to $106,000 of carryover funds. And then our programming and monitoring planning, we go from, where's that? We go from $275,000 to $100,000. Our expenditures, as I mentioned, when we complete those studies, those are professional services, we see a decrease from 2.3 to 1.8. And then our auditing services from $335,000 to $133, along with other studies that we completed. So that concludes this update. Does anybody have any questions?
No questions? There's got to be a question, comment?
No changes.
No? Okay. Motion then, please.
So moved.
Motion and second to adopt the resolution for 2025-04-1701 overall work program. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. Elizabeth, you're up.
There we go. Good afternoon. This item is regarding the completion of the UC Merced coordination study. Early in 2024, this study kicked off. MCAG and UC Merced partnered to fund a study to look at how we could potentially better coordinate the TJPA UC service and UC Merced's CAT track service. We procured a consultant to prepare the study. I'll mention a couple things before I hand it over to Genevieve on the screen. One thing from staff and maybe from this board perspective is that we had been looking at this for quite a while. I think one of the things that was really useful out of the study is just to get all of the data we got. We know where everyone's running, how much it costs, who has what buses, etc. So that sets a really good foundation for what might help us in the future to coordinate better and more efficiently for the two systems and for transit in the area. So that was kind of the initial part of the study, is to kind of gather data. There was some public outreach. 3 directors, Director Pedroso, Pereira, and Serrato were on an ad hoc committee and attended a couple of meetings to talk about the study as it was occurring. And the study proposes 3 different kind of levels of coordination for consideration. And so we have Genevieve Evans from LSC on Zoom there to kind of give an overview of some of the recommendations. So turn it over to her if that's.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good afternoon, board. Can everybody hear me all right?
Yes.
Great. Okay. I was told to give you a brief 5-minute overview. As you're probably aware, coordination between UC Merced, which operates their own public transit system called CAT Tracks, and TJPA, or the bus, our county public transit system here in Merced, has been a discussion topic. And the last short-range transit plan that was done recommended consolidating the two systems, as there is overlap both within the CAT track system and between CAT tracks and the buses system. Therefore, we were set with the task of taking this step a little bit further, looking deeper into what potential coordination needs are for passengers and for the different agencies, And are there ways to potentially coordinate that doesn't necessarily involve full consolidation if that's not the desired outcome? And then finally, running some numbers to see, does this really pencil out? So over the past year or so, that's what we've done. We've done a lot of surveys of passengers. We've talked to a lot of stakeholders and staff, of course. We've dug into the numbers and looked at different performance and boarding by stop. And we came to the conclusion that, yes, we feel that operating public transit services as one coordinated system between the UC and TJPA would increase ridership and reduce overall costs when you consider the cost of both systems. I'll note that this, we call it the heavy coordination scenario or the consolidation scenario, does involve a full redesign of the M routes here in Merced so that they absorb the CATRAX routes. That's where you gain a lot of your efficiencies. It would increase frequency, particularly for there's the UC route that goes between UC Merced and downtown Merced, and it would also increase service on weekends. Another component is that microtransit would be incorporated in the city of Merced. Now you have a microbus. That would be expanded to serve certain portions of the city where you have low fixed route ridership. Microtransit does do well in those areas, as well as an evening microtransit on-demand system for students going to the UC, because the way the service hours would work out, the MRATs would not operate as late as CATRAX does now, so they would have this microtransit option in the evening, but there would be requirements that you would have to have one trip end at the university. That's an overview of the changes. I'll also highlight a few of the bottom line numbers I think you'd be interested in. The additional operating cost of this consolidated scenario, when you consider, there's going to be additional administrative maintenance staff and all that, we think that would cost on average about $117,000 more a year for TJPA. On the UC Merced side, they would actually be saving a little bit of money in terms when you compare to what they're paying right now to operate their transit system. If they gave money to TJPA and we are assigning costs such that UC Merced would pay for the routes that go to the university, they could see a savings of about $1 million a year for operating costs. However, we also think it would be worthwhile for UC Merced to pay for a portion of the capital costs. You need about 7 new vehicles when you absorb, when you have both systems. UC Merced would be paying for that. We took the total cost of purchasing those new vehicles and replacing them over time, annualize that. You come up with about $860,000 for a capital fee annually. So that would reduce UC Merced savings a little bit. I should note that you could apply for FTA funds to help pay for the cost of vehicles. UC Merced could be credited for that. Another benefit of consolidation, TJPA would then be reporting all the vehicle miles, ridership, and revenue for the National Transit Database for the Federal Transit Administration, combined, right? So the numbers would be bigger. Therefore, there are some performance metrics that likely TJPA would be eligible for more money, up to maybe $500,000 on the federal side, and on the state side of things, maybe another $100,000. Lastly, we think with the frequency increases, particularly the weekend service, the benefits to both the community and UC Merced students, we think you could increase ridership for both systems on a whole by 15% or maybe up to 135,000 trips a year. So the bottom line is, after going through all these numbers, we looked at, I didn't go into detail here, but in the report that is available, we went into a lot of detail on more medium coordination scenarios of, realigning G-line and certain routes. We think that it is worth it to pursue the heavy coordination consolidation scenario. That's my 5-minute overview, and happy to take questions.
Very nice. Questions, comments?
Chair, we have
Yes.
a little bit more on the presentation, if we can
Sure.
finish that up. Thank you. So first a note on kind of what we're looking for in this action. So the action says to accept the study. So what we're wanting to do is, we summarize the study and what some of the options are and what we evaluated, and then the study will kind of be closed out. It's a planning study kind of level, where we looked at, like Genevieve was alluding to, if we did this, it would cost this much or save this much, right? Study level. We want to accept the study. We're not asking the board to select a scenario or one of these scenarios, heavy coordination consolidation, at this time. We're closing down the study, and then there's an expectation that those scenarios will be explored by MCAG and the UC moving forward. So I just wanted to make that comment about the study being a study and that there will be more to come. We're not asking for an approval at the moment. And our partners from UC Merced would like to say something as part of the presentation, if that's okay.
Mhm.
Welcome.
So good afternoon. I won't take much time because I know you're anxious to hear Stacy's report. Mr. Chair, board members.
Be a good one.
Good afternoon. My name is Karen Groth. I'm the Director of Transportation and Parking Services at UC Merced. I've been with the university for 18 years, and I am a very proud Mercedian. I grew up in Merced, moved here when I was 4 years old, and so being raised here and then also raising my sons in the community makes my position in my profession equally important. So I wanted to take a minute to introduce our Associate Vice Chancellor of Auxiliary Enterprises and Fiscal Innovation. Adriana Rojas is with me today. And so, we're really enthusiastic and excited about the progress that we've made. We're in support of the study, the work that was done by LSC. We feel very strongly that we're at a position, the university is at a position to leverage the economies of scale to improve transportation throughout the community. We consider our students to be community members. And we also we believe that transportation is the connection that is much needed between connecting the community and the neighboring counties with the university. And so, as I mentioned, we are here, we are committed, we invested in the study, the 50-50 cost share. We are looking forward to continuing this work to evaluate the 3 different options that were part of the study recommendation. And we know this will be a long-term relationship with our transit agency, and on behalf of the students, I am on the forefront in my position in speaking with parents and really speaking on behalf of safety and connectivity for our students. And so I'm very passionate about that. And so to be here today after, as you've heard, this has been a long time coming. So this is the furthest that we have ever been, and appreciate working with Stacy and Nav and Elizabeth and team on this extraordinary effort. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Sure. We have a couple of questions.
For our presentation. Yeah.
I actually just have a quick question. So do you handle parking violations?
Yes, I do.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, what's the board, in front of us is to accept the final draft?
Chair Silvera, motion to approve.
Ooh,
Okay,
duly motion.
okay, one of them want to make us, okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the final draft of the UC Merced Coordination Study. Any questions or comments? Not hearing any. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you all very much. Discussion items, and it's the 2025 San Joaquin Valley Regional Policy Conference recap.
Yeah, this is going to be the better report that I have. I'll just, yes, this is, it'll be short. Okay. For me. it would not be appropriate if we did not take a moment to just say, we survived. No, thank you all for attending. We had the San Joaquin Valley Regional Policy Conference last week, as you know. Many of us in the room still have bags under our eyes and are recovering, but also kind of just a little riding the wave a little bit, that it was a really great conference. We enjoyed ourselves. We were happy to see so many others, including many of our board members and staff, do the same. We had representation from nearly all of our jurisdictions there. I want to give a special thank you to Directors McDaniel, Silvera, and Nagy for their participation as the Regional Policy Council members and alternate in different speaking roles, and also to Director Serrato as the mayor of our host city, for all having roles to help welcome our region into the Merced County, greater Merced County area. I know I've done this already, I think, at the event, but I have to thank, not everyone is here, because I think everyone that worked downtown in our 2 offices had some role in either the development of the execution or cleanup. I mean, just everything took every single person here. So this is the part of the job where I get to be the talking head of something that's really successful. But I want to make sure that the people that are doing the work and all the hard work and the ideas, and Nav saying, no, bigger, well, let's do this, no, bigger. And so people that were just kind of just coming up with these great ideas. So everyone in this room was part of that execution, including our UC partners. We had an excellent partnership with the team on a wide range of things, from the parking and the shuttles to the tour, to dining, to the chancellor being there, to Rufus being there, to the IT team. The food was delicious, so the facilities were amazing. So just a real team effort in the broadest way that it can possibly be. So I just want to thank you all again. I'm glad we only do that once every 8 to 10 years. Also want to say that where possible, we use local vendors. Actually, almost everywhere we use local vendors, particularly, of course, with our food and our desserts. We really were just trying to highlight everything that Merced County has to offer. We were sold out at 250, and the conference was 100% funded through sponsorships and in kind, I guess. And registration, sponsorship and registration. Thank you very much. I want to say extra thank you to Director Silvera for his excellent idea, albeit at the 11th hour. It worked to have an auction at the Tarmac event, and we raised $2,100 for the Ana Maria Fuentes Scholarship. So that was an excellent, unexpected, and maybe pioneering idea that we're going to have to now really branch out and be creative on what else can we do to raise money for the auction. And also, and lastly, before we show a couple of things, I want to say congratulations again to Director McDaniel for being awarded the Jenny Canoyer Elected Official of the Year by his colleagues in the San Joaquin Valley. And we're going to do a couple of quick things. I'll just show you, because these are the fun ones. If you didn't attend, here's what you missed. It's fun. But we had an excellent reception at the El Capitan Hotel that was just perfect weather out on the patio. Very well attended. In fact, this is typically not a highlight of the conference. It's usually an accommodation for people who come in from out of town. But it was really an excellent event that we had I had a number of people come up to me and say, this hotel is fantastic. I didn't know Merced had something like this. I've already told my wife or my spouse or whomever, and we're going to come back. So that's the kind of energy we wanted to generate with people by coming to Merced. And then, of course, we had courtesy of Transdev. We were able to transport everyone to the UC on the bus, and people used it and they loved it.
which was excellent. And as I mentioned, we had the chancellor there and Director McDaniel kicking things off, and Rufus. I mean, that was just pretty cool. Probably one of my highlights. Excellent panel conversations with high-speed rail and housing, and the 99 being featured. And a really interesting keynote speaker, an entrepreneur who's really in kind of the virtual world space and really kind of stretched, I know, my brain to kind of think of things in a really different way. And then, of course, delicious food. And there's some City of Merced reps. So just all around. Oh, and we also had scholars from UC Merced, Stan State, Fresno State. I think that's it. Oh, UC Davis, respond to our call for poster sessions. And so they were there to talk about their research. And every time I checked in with them, they said they just had a steady, group of people coming through to talk to them about what they've been working on. And then, of course, our vendor room with our sponsors who had lots of good information. And a couple breakout sessions along with a tour of the UC that I heard people thought was just incredible and say how impressive the campus was. And then, the evening festivities, courtesy of Transdev through using our Yards buses, transported folks out to the tarmac, and where we had all kinds of fun. Is it Statler and Waldorf? Are those the Muppets that sit in the balcony? I think it is. We had our own Statler and Waldorf, and as well as a live band. And you can see in this picture, if you recognize some folks, the guitarist is Chewy, who's our site supervisor at the Billy Wright landfill, and the person singing in black is Lucy, our one of our transit admin professionals. And so that was just it was just a lot of fun. Oh, look, there they are. Well done. Yeah. And here you can see Director Silvera with his auctioneering skills. Just really well attended. Food was excellent. This was just a big idea that NAB in particular kind of just jumped on and ran with. And the team everyone pitched in. So just a really fun event. People were just really, really impressed with the facilities out at the tarmac. I heard a lot of great commentary there. And then lastly, of course, we started with the new at UC Merced and ended with the old at the historic historic theater in downtown Merced. A lot of folks saying, I've seen this building for years and I've never known what was inside. Just a really neat setting. And we had our South Pacific Dance Company perform. And then also the Blueprint Awards, the City of Merced, the City of Los Banos, and Director McDaniel were all recognized, as was the Caltrans project for the mammoths, the Columbian mammoths over Highway 99 in Merced County. Lots of great stuff. And then we had State Treasurer Fiona Ma and Congressman Adam Gray with Chris Vitelli from Merced College. Just Leanne Eager, CTC Commissioner, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, the best for last, as Pat had said, Director Nagy had said in our closing comments. So that work, you just saw probably a 0.5% of the pictures that Michael took. So we'll get the rest of those out and distributed because there are a lot. And if we could, I know we are quick, but if you don't want to see it, we did queue up the video because we had not shown it to some of our board members, but I will take the pulse of the board.
I've seen it, but that's ones we've not seen it.
We have a couple people who have not seen it.
I think everybody saw it.
I saw it was in the email.
Okay. Go ahead. Please.
Let's tell them who.
Yeah.
Welcome to Merced County. Located in the heart of the San Joaquin Valley, this is a landscape that weaves both urban and rural into its varied tapestry. With cities that span from the steppes of the Sierra Nevada in the east to the foot of the coastal range in the west, whose people are as diverse as their enterprises. This county is home to farmers, researchers, business owners, healthcare workers, teachers, artists, and dedicated public servants. This is a gateway from where visitors launch their adventure to one of the most iconic gems in the national park system, Yosemite National Park, and a place where blue devils and bobcats roam freely. Known primarily for its rich agricultural lands, Merced County has long thrived on the production and processing of milk, almonds, sweet potatoes, tomatoes, and livestock. And while these industries continue to play a fundamental role in our culture and livelihood, this place we call home has become so much more. The city of Merced is home to the 10th campus of the University of California, alongside a community college with over 50 proud years of history, and is set to become a premier hub for passenger rail service in the San Joaquin Valley when high-speed rail, ACE, and the Amtrak San Joaquins all converge into one downtown station. This station offers a historic opportunity to demonstrate the fundamental benefits of multimodal transportation connections to an entire region. Key to this undertaking will be finishing State Route 99 in Merced County and throughout the San Joaquin Valley. These last segments of 4-lane highway are critical projects to improve safety and efficiency along the corridor for the movement of goods and people. From providing residents safe access to services and opportunities to connecting goods to Merced County's inland port, finishing the 99 is the key to Merced County's quality of life and prosperous future. Another priority transportation project in Merced County is the Atwater-Merced Expressway, which, upon its completion, will connect the 99 to Castle Commerce Center. At Castle, the inland port allows agricultural producers and manufacturers the ability to quickly ship and receive products via this hub that connects rail, freight, and air cargo to and from ports in California. While these developments are exciting, the heart of Merced County lies in its cities and towns, where investments in housing, public transit, water infrastructure, art, and recreation are enhancing the everyday lives of local residents. The city of Castine is known for its welcoming spirit and small-town charm. The first roundabout on the state highway system in Merced County is here, as are many new sidewalks, crosswalks, and recreational paths, a testament to the city's investment in alternative modes of transportation. Also on the west side of the county, the city of Los Banos is tackling the region's housing needs with a new development that will provide 50 permanent units to 95 local unhoused residents. When paired with assistance at the county's navigation center, housing projects such as these help bolster the region's network of resources and provide real solutions to the ongoing fight against homelessness. The city of Dos Palos has been busy reviving its public facilities. From the construction of a new drinking water plant to the renovation of O'Banion Park with its county library branch, local residents are benefiting from these improvements to their local infrastructure every day. Measure V is also making a big impact in this small rural town with the completion of the new Lorraine Street Bridge and the complete Blossom Street project about to break ground. History enthusiasts will love the city of Atwater. Here, individuals can explore a vast collection of historic aircraft at Castle Air Museum and step back in time at the Bloss House, a stunning historic landmark that offers a glimpse into the early days of the region. The city of Livingston is a place where vibrant cultures meet a thriving agricultural economy. Livingston is home to Foster Farms, and growers in both Livingston and Atwater are responsible for 80% of California's sweet potatoes. The community takes pride in hosting its annual Sweet Potato Festival that draws crowds from around the valley. Throughout Merced County, the arts and the environment also shine. Seasonal wetlands provide vital habitats for wildlife, and our vast open spaces offer breathtaking views of landscapes. In our urban areas, community-driven art initiatives, including sculptures, monuments, and murals, bring color, creativity, and depth to our neighborhoods and public spaces. The last 25 years have been a period of growth and transformation, but the story of Merced County is far from over. With bold investments in transportation, infrastructure, and community development, we are well positioned for a thriving future, one shaped by vision, innovation, and the spirit of its people.
I don't get tired of watching that.
Very good.
So just again, a thank you for our script writer and narrator, Mary Michael, and Marissa for creating the video, the music, the imagery, all of the other things. So with that, that is my report for this item, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Very nice. Very nice. Other reports? Your regular report?
That was my regular. I will just add I'm on vacation starting whenever we're done with closed session, and I'm out all next week. So Nav is your man.
You're not going to dinner?
No, I'm. My kids are picking me up. My husband as soon as we get here. So we're gone tonight, and I'll be out of pocket.
With your phone turned off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, director's report. Matt, do you have anything to report?
No, just a city county dinner, new Merced, or almost getting close to being ready. Merced Airport Terminal, so look forward to seeing everybody.
Look for it. Josh?
Great conference and great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, same thing. Great conference. Staff did an amazing job. I saw you guys all on Friday morning, and you looked like you're ready for the conference to be over. But it was unnoticed by most people on how well and the attention to detail. Made me proud as a director of MCAG and it being hosted in our home county. Nothing but compliments from anybody and everybody that I talked to that wasn't from here knows how kind of how I'm not going to say the word how good we are at doing these type of things. Thank you.
Katie?
We had a council member resign this month. She was offered an opportunity of a lifetime for the second time. The first time she turned it down to stay on the council. So this time she took it, and it moved her out of the city limits. So we will be appointing a new council member. In the next couple of weeks, we opened up an application process to kind of make it fair. And we are very excited for our Blossom Street project, and Adam Gray paid us a visit yesterday, I believe, and we took him to our wonderful wastewater facility that needs a lot of work, and so he can remember what that looked like and smelled like when it comes across his desk after one voice.
That's right.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to reiterate Director Silvera's comments, I'd like to recognize all the staff that did all the hard work, and Stacy and Nav, you guys, you got a great team, and they went above and beyond. And again, everybody I talked to was refreshed, and I think we changed a lot of opinions of the people up and down the valley of Merced. I mean, they were just floored by the university, the beautiful historic theater, El Capitan Hotel. I mean, right along, everything was just first class. And the only bad thing was, kind of in my closing speech, a lot of the people had left already, and I said something about, yeah, even the guy that was sleeping in the front row. And then after it was over, one of the other directors came up and said, "Hey, why'd you call me out for sleeping in the front row?" And I didn't even see you, Gary.
Mike?
That sounds like Gary.
Ditto to Scotty's comments and ditto to Pat's comments.
Yeah, there's definitely not much more that I can add, except seeing Stacy start getting nervous and panic a little bit, and I told her perception is everything. Nobody else sees it. You're the only one that sees it, and it went smooth as everything. So,
People saw that.
well, the flag, yeah. And usually, or Johnny on the spot, they even have a backup, and
I know.
but that's all right. You put me in that position to
I did.
say the Pledge of Allegiance with no flag.
I
But
said, "Hey, Darren, don't panic."
Well, I'm very sorry I missed the conference. I had my other job called me for a couple of days. But everything I heard besides today, even from the west side, is nothing but the best. So congratulations to the staff. Stacy, excellent job.
Thank you.
And to the board members, your sign-up sheet for cleanup of Highway 99, Stacy will have them, so sign your name to it.
Matt does that.
Matt,
Oh, Matt, okay.
I'm on
Okay.
vacation.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, we'll be going into closed session with MCAG, Conference with Legal Counsel, anticipated litigation, Under Government Code 54956.9, there'll be one case, and also conference with real property negotiators with Code Section 54956.8, with one property we'll be discussing. If any outcome comes, this decision comes in closed session, we'll be coming out here in the public and making the decision to the public. So we'll be going in closed session at this time.
They should be quick. Also, don't forget about the Morriston County Spring Fair. No. 2 weeks. I know a girl with a goat, if you're interested. Ooh. She'll be in Merced too.
We are back from closed session. Conference with legal counsel, item A, and also item 2, the conference with real property negotiations. Only direction was given to staff only. No decision will be made. This meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Right.